Welcome to Reston's African American Legacy Program. I'm Laverne Gill. We have a treat for you today. We have two extraordinary people that we'd like for you to meet. Brother Abraham, who is a longtime resident of Reston, and Johnny Early, who has been a person who has done great things for young people with learning disabilities. We hope you'll enjoy this show. Sit back, relax, and enjoy Reston's African American Legacy Program.
Thank you. My name is Pamela A. Hart Stewart, your host for The Next Generation. I am so happy to introduce Brother Abraham, a longtime friend and someone I've grown to really respect for all the work that you've done and doing as an entrepreneur here in the Reston and Northern Virginia area. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Delighted to be here.
Yes, it's great. So you've got your hands in a couple cookie jars. So we don't have a lot of time. So we're going to start with Wise Enterprise, because an enterprise in my eyes is large. And so start with your clothing. You have a clothing line.
Yes. First and foremost, I'm truly thankful and honored to be here. The clothing line, the business is called Wise Enterprise.
Right.
And me and my wife and my partner Wendell started it a while ago. Mm-hmm. And the clothing line out of the business is a branch. Mm-hmm. And the clothing line is called Wise Wear. Mm-hmm. And it is a fashion label that is guided and directed to uplift and encourage youth and people on a universal scale, just teaching value through fashion. So we use wisdom and we spell wise with a Z.
Yes, and I noticed that with a lot of your clothing. And like you said, I think when you, in this day and age, with our generation, when it comes to clothing, you not only want to look good, you want to feel good in what you're wearing, but there is purpose behind what you're doing. For so many of our young teens, young adults, they're torn. I mean, we hear about it a lot. And again, wanting to look good, a lot of what your brand is about. Tell us about the brand. You have a slogan, and I don't want to, I think I do have it written here, that our goal is to teach self-value through fashion and art. So
yes. With
your clothing.
Yes, I'm an artist.
Okay.
And I design in a way to uplift through fashion, because through fashion, everybody wants to look good, everybody wants to look nice, and a lot of times we're misunderstood through our clothing, our appearance. So actually the goal, it kind of came out of some of my first t-shirts were kind of like the ideal was like catered to women. Right. And I wanted to design t-shirts that would give men a second thought on how they would approach a woman when they seen the shirt that she had on. So it kind of stemmed from there, and it kind of grew and developed. One thing about the clothing line is that it's custom, and we customize it to your liking. I like a certain way and I like a certain style, but I am always willing to incorporate your vision and your ideal and producing it, because I want you to be happy with what you wear. It's all about identity. Right. And,
absolutely. Well, let's show a piece, because you did bring one of your shirts. I own one of these shirts, and it's very simple. Sometimes you don't have to get real elaborate. And it just says faith first. Faith it's very first. Simple. Wise Wear.
Wise Wear.
Yes. And I think a part of your brand too that I like is the 360.
Yes.
The 360. I mean, the 360 to me is...
I have a couple of pieces. I didn't bring the 360.
It's okay. It's all right. But part of it is 360. Yeah. To me, it's 360 degrees, full circle. Right. Explain your...
Well, Wise Wear is the name of the brand.
Right.
360 is the logo. Okay. So the logo actually represents a universal change. It represents man, woman, and child. It represents sun, moon, and star. It represents life. It represents family. So, and it represents knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And it takes knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to begin to value yourself. So this piece right here that I did, all the young kids liked the skulls when they came out, but I really wasn't with the skulls, because the skull represents death. Okay. Our clothing line, we call it a way of life, and our slogan is AWOL, a way of life. So in a way of life, when I sing the ska, I wanted to appeal to the youth, and I wanted to make something that would catch their attention. So the ska here, if you see, it is alive through the frequency of the music and the sounds from the headphones. So me and my partner own a record studio, recording studio, and we manage and work with artists. And so this was the message that we wanted to send through positive music and art to raise the consciousness and awareness of the people.
Right.
So,
well, and I have to think with that generation having to have a breakthrough.
Right.
If you have to meet what's popular halfway,
right,
you want to try to take advantage of what's popular.
Right.
Maybe put a little spin on it.
Put a spin on it.
A better influence,
Yes.
if you will.
Right.
And just make a connection
Yes.
with the younger generations, which is extremely important. It's a competitive business, what you do.
Wow.
So I'm sure that through it all, you've had a lot of highs and lows. But like we like to tell a lot of our viewers, with hard work and dedication. I remember we've talked over the years between our businesses just how to grow and stay afloat. So I commend you for sticking with it, because
Likewise.
It is
You've
competitive.
been definitely a motivation for me too.
Yeah, well, thank you. So the community, I think, with what you do, being an artist, working in with music, with your custom work, that you do take great pride in tapping into the community. I know that you've got a couple businesses. You can share with us about your businesses and what you're doing in the community to just really, give back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I came to this area, the community. I'm originally from Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Black and yellow all day.
Right.
Steelers fans, we're proud people, but I came here in '85. And it was a cultural shock. It was very, very difficult to adjust and to find my identity and to find myself. I was very young, and I got caught up on the wrong path and spent a lot of my juvenile life going down the wrong direction. So 360 is that change. And when I was about 19, one of my close friends passed away. He got murdered in Reston.
I remember.
And it was a wake-up call for me. It was actually about 20 years ago, and our children.
First murder in Reston.
One of the first
It was really
murders.
shocking. I remember that clearly.
Yes,
right.
Yes. Rest in peace, Marcus. Yes. But during that week that he was murdered, me and 3 of my friends were really on a journey because our girlfriends were pregnant. And we were on a journey to change our life and find jobs and do something positive.
Sure.
And me and him went on a job interview. And one of the things that we wanted to do was we used to have these little meetings in the basement, and we reached out to my father and we said, you know what, we want to start a group. So we started a group, me and my brothers, me and about 4 of my friends. It was called Young Black Men Searching for the Truth. And it started in the basement. And this was in Herndon, and everybody was from Reston and Herndon that participated in it, and it grew rapidly. Like, we were really shocked, and it grew to the point where we looked for places to house it, and we wanted to keep it neutral. We didn't want to do it at the church. We wanted to keep it real neutral. So we went to the community center, and we started at the Herndon Community Center. And we used to rent the community center out and have these groups. And that was how it started for me as far as giving back, because I wanted for my peers what I was getting for myself, and that was just the will and the energy to change.
Sure.
At that time, right after that, about 4 of my closest friends went to prison for life.
Wow.
So that was a wake-up call for me.
Absolutely.
It was a serious wake-up call for me, and I was very blessed to not go down the path of being incarcerated for life. So I began my journey in change. And in the community, it was always about my peers. So I've been working in the community for a long time. Me and 4 of my close friends started a bookstore in Herndon.
Nice.
This was in 2003.
Okay.
And it was really the first black bookstore in our area. And everybody told me this is not going to be successful.
Right.
But I felt that back to knowledge and
Yes.
wisdom and understanding, if that was what it took for me to make the change in my life, I felt if I can offer that to my peers, that they can follow that path. And A lot of them did, and I'm very, very happy that a lot of my peers woke up and are waking up continuously. But it's a constant struggle.
And with your bookstore, it's just, you know, allowing our peers to have the opportunity to gain the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And I think, you know, for people like you and me who are out and amongst Reston and the surrounding areas, it is important that we just don't, you know, social media has taken over quite a bit, but there's some things that we need to just, be hands-on. It's nothing better or greater
than that. It's cool, social media is cool,
sure.
But, you know, I tell people, like for my clothing line, call me direct.
Right.
I don't want to email. It's cool. I'll get the email, but I like to connect with the spirit.
Right.
I'm all about connecting with the people. So, yeah.
Well, that's wonderful.
It gets watered down through social media.
Well, yeah, truly. Well, and then I know you've expanded, like you said, you know, you've got your clothing, you do some music, and then you do hold events where you try to bring it all together.
Yes.
My husband and I got invited to a couple of your events where it had some black art, some music, some poetry, different genres of, you know, being able to show your artistic backgrounds, and it was wonderful, you know, and I commend you for doing stuff like that locally because it brings all of us together, and it allows us to share, you know, with each other. So you've got a lot on the horizon, I know, as well. You've got a vision, which is true to your success, to stay very visual with what you want to do, stay focused. And I know you've got a book that you're writing or you're just about completing. We don't have a lot of time left, but just real quick, give us the title of that book. And
the book is called The Crack in My Cross.
Right.
The Story of Redemption. And I'm co-writing with my wife.
Beautiful.
Sarah, who is the author, who is a poet.
Right.
So that book will be coming out in a couple months. And we really look forward to reaching out to the community, sharing our story and our testimony to be a reflection.
Right. And it's important. When you're so blessed, you need to be a blessing. So I know that book is going to bless many. I can't wait to get my autographed copy.
Yes. Hopefully you can come back.
Yes. But, you know, we really do want to thank you, again, for the viewers and all different generations, but specifically to our younger generations, you know. You're putting a stamp on Reston, giving us the opportunity and the kids to just kind of have a man like you.
And we're also working at the Reston Community Center over in Stonegate right now. We're in the process of building a recording studio over there.
Well, good.
Yes.
We'll keep our eyes on that. We want to thank you. We want to give you something for our appreciation to you on this show, a little token of our appreciation.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Brother Abraham, you're the best, and we thank you for joining us with Reston's African American Legacy Program. Have a great day.
Welcome back to Reston's African American Legacy Program. I'm Laverne Gill, and with me today is Johnny Early. And I am so happy to have you here. Thank you. Johnny, the thing that I remember most about you is that gorgeous harp that you used to play. Are you still playing the harp?
No, I'm not.
But it was such a beautiful harp.
It's also very difficult to play and very difficult to keep up, and you have to practice at least 6 hours a day. So, because I explain the harp really quickly, so you understand. This is a 70-pound instrument with very delicate wood and sound, and you have to lean it against your right shoulder, and then you have to place your hands on the strings, make sure your little fingers up, and it's a plucking instrument. In the meantime, you have to change pedals, read the music, and smile.
Well, there goes my plan. I've always wanted to play a harp. I just figured I'd have a job in heaven if I learned to play the harp. But at any rate, that's not why you're here today. I just wanted to put that in because I remember it so well, and I remember you. When I think of you, I think of that harp. You've done a number of things in Reston. You lived in Reston for quite some time. When did you come to Reston?
We moved to Reston in 1974.
Okay. And you no longer live in Reston, but that's okay. you were here for quite some time. Now, were you involved in Reston Black Focus?
Oh yes, very much so. In fact, that was the one organization that brought all African Americans together, especially when we would have a program outside at Lake Ann, and sometimes we didn't get to see each other too much. Mm-hmm. So we had that one day and that one evening that we had a dance and dinner. So we could catch up on everything that's going on.
So that was the gathering place.
That was the gathering place.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, I told you, I know I've said it before, but that's what drew me to Reston. I couldn't imagine. It was almost like an oasis to come out here in Northern Virginia and then end up at the Reston Black Focus Festival, because you didn't think that many African Americans were out here. And I guess many of them visited like I did. Mm-hmm. But the thing I wanted to talk to you about was some of the things that the things that you did while you were here. Primarily starting the camp. You started a camp. Tell me how that came about. Well,
actually, the camp was started before I moved to Reston. Mm-hmm. My then husband we both were young teachers in our 20s. Mm-hmm. And there was so much going on in the black community because of the, what you call it, integration mm-hmm. of schools. And we were always wondering where will we teach next, mm-hmm. and how many scenario programs we will have to go through. But in the meantime, we were very concerned about our students because we knew they would be going to different schools and maybe not getting the attention that was really needed, and maybe could only be given to them through culture. Mm-hmm. So, but the one thing that bothered us most were the children in our classrooms that had developmental disabilities, both physically and mentally. And we didn't have any programs, any training, anything to really facilitate them. So our guess was just to make them comfortable and try to help them to sign their name, know how to write their names.
So this was before there were any special programs,
yeah.
For special ed?
There was no special programs, no special ed, no anything. It's just that the child at the age of 6 had to attend school regardless. That this was in Roanoke City and Roanoke County. And so we met some people at some entertainment, and they said, well, we have these children and we don't really know what to do with them, so we started an organization to come together to see how we can really help them to come into contact with the world. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes children were hidden. And what happened, so how can we help them most? Most of them are well-fed, clothed, everything, had those necessities. And I thought about it. At recess time, those children had no one to play with, really. And they grow up and become adults. They still don't have the social, entertaining things that they needed at, just to be just a human thought, you know. Mm-hmm. So we all came together, and both communities, black and white communities, came together and said the best thing, the most needed thing would be recreation. So my husband and I asked the city, could we use the recreation center 2 nights a week, and that was allowed. This allowed the young adults to come, have a dance, a dance, and some snacks. And the younger ones, we decided to ask the skating rink, could we bring them to teach them how to skate. And they did have everything ready for us, skates that locked on one side and all that. So we found this to be very good. The parents say the children were really experiencing something they had never experienced before.
You know, it's hard for people to believe that now, because now there's so much, there's so much information out there, and people are doing a lot of special programs, but it's hard for people to believe that there was a time when these young people were just hidden away.
They were hidden. Some didn't even attend school. Some were not even recognized as part of the family because we were hidden. But anyway, we, at the start in that, the director of one of these organizations said, it would be nice if we could find a place for these children to have recreation in the summer. So we looked around and we found this camp, this very famous camp. I won't name it, but we said, could we just have maybe a week or 2 weeks that we could bring our children to camp just to experience swimming and boating and playing together? And they said, absolutely not. So we were a little disappointed. Then we were so disappointed that we said, maybe we can start a camp of our own. So we really worked hard, but we understood something, that we needed money to buy land and to buy facilities, or have facilities built, and even to find the land. So we did this. We found the JCs, grown-up JCs, and this was an all-male organization, so that I was able to work with them, but I was never really a part of them because it was all male.
People don't understand that these days either.
No, they don't understand that. But anyway, they were very generous, and but they did not want to really tie the organization down with a camp, because they said the camp would be going on forever, and maybe they would not be. So, but we convinced them. We rode all over the state of Virginia, going to our meetings, and we also took, when the national JCs met in New York, we also went there, and we finally convinced the Roanoke JCs to help us start the camp, the Virginia JCs rather. And that's, so in 1968 we had a fundraising statewide, and we decided we would pick something to sell that was native to Virginia. And it was, because Virginia, product of Virginia is our apples. So we decided to sell jar apple jelly for $1. And this was, so we bought this from a company. So many cases, it filled the whole semi-truck. And that year we made, selling it all over the state, made $68,000.
Wow.
This still was not enough to buy the land that we needed. So we tried it again next year, 1969. And this time we raised $85,000. So then we chose some land, bottom land in Bedford, Virginia. I think it's Bedford County, Blue Ridge, Virginia. And we broke the ground in 1969, built this facility. And it's miraculous, as Olympic-sized swimming pool. We had 8 cabins that would, each cabin would hold 16 children, because we had bunk beds. And we had we had the main house that housed our cafeteria, and with the one that we had programs in, and we had an arts and craft building, and also an outside recreation building that had 3 open sides, which also had showers and basketball court.
Now, how many kids did you have this first year?
The first year we had, I think it was 75 children.
And where did you get them from?
Well, this organization that we were working with
So you had developed this the organization
already had the children.
That's
And
fantastic.
so we, to make a long story short, our first camp was opened in 1971. And it was, you could send your child for a week session, or it's a residential camp. So we could send it for a week session, or we could send it for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And believe it or not, it was only $150 a week.
This is fantastic.
And so, with all the buildings and everything, and we also had a lake that was really, all the water came from the mountain, the Blue Ridge Mountains. And it's a beautiful lake, and we had boating and tennis courts.
So is it still in existence?
It's still in existence, but it went through a major change. And it was like a takeover. It was taken over. But fortunately enough, we were able to raise the money last year to bring it back.
Before I let you go, because that story is a fantastic story, but were you also involved in the Sister City program
I was
at Reston?
involved. Yes, I was involved with the Sister City program because of the time I spent in Africa. We started a JC chapter there.
Mm-hmm.
And this was Nyeri, Kenya. And through that organization, we were able to bring special education teachers over to train at Camp Virginia JC.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided to make it a Sister City thing, and that's what we did.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Johnny Early, you are a legend in and of yourself with that story. I know you must be writing your memoirs.
I am.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to reading them. I want to thank you for coming on with us, and I want to give you a token of our appreciation for what you have done. And in those days when women were not recognized for what they did,
Yes.
we want to make up for that.
Oh, thank you.
So we are just so thankful for your contribution to the quality of life in Reston.
Well, thank you for having me.
Oh, this has been fantastic. This has been Reston's African American Legacy Program. I'm Laverne Gill, and until the next time, we'll see you.